Hi, I'm John Anderson. I'm going to speak a little bit about hazards and hazardous materials. Recent events in the U.S. and Canada vividly evoke images of the dangers of transporting crude oil by rail. Fires, explosions, destroyed watersheds, agricultural land, and hydrocarbon contamination. The revised environmental impact report, the railroads and the oil companies are attempting to calm citizens' fears about rail accidents by citing outdated historical statistics. For example, the Association of American Railroads proudly notes that in the past, 99.9% of all rail shipments and hazardous materials reached their destinations without a spill. Unfortunately, current data is far more sobering. Looking strictly at oil shipments, spills are spiking. According to the Associated Press, in 2009, before the oil drilling boom, there was just one oil spill reported. But now, with the flood of new oil, the landscape is far scarier. In 2013, according to the Associated Press, crude oil releases were reported from 137 rail spills. Therefore, you can toss out the REIR's outdated odds. In the last 5 years, the number of crude oil tankers in the U.S. has grown from under 10,000 to about 400,000. That's a 40-fold increase. And a lot more are on the way. More trains equal more risk. Less trains equal less risk. Indeed, the revised environmental impact report states, quote, in San Luis Obispo County, the Cuesta grade represents an area where a runaway train could occur. A runaway train coming down the Cuesta grade could result in spills of crude oil and associated fires, unquote. The Union Pacific Railroad lists the Cuesta grade as one of the highest hazard rail passes in California. Therefore, when an almost 12,000-ton object carrying crude oil attempts to come down the Cuesta grade, sometime in our future is a disaster. The oil trains, if they safely navigate through Northern California, down the Cuesta grade, would then cross the Stenner Creek Bridge, built in 1894, below which the water treatment site is located. The crude oil trains would then snake through the Cal Poly campus, continue through the city, past French Hospital, through Pismo Beach, Grover Beach, Arroyo Grande, and onto the refinery. It's not a Mesa-only problem. This affects the entire state, the entire county. Communities in Canada, New York, Minnesota, Florida, Pennsylvania, and North Dakota have recently experienced the devastating consequences of crude oil explosions, fires, and spills. Evacuation zones up to 5 miles from ground zero have been enforced. If downtown San Luis Obispo were ground zero and we drew a 5-mile evacuation circle around downtown, how many men, women, children, and students would be encircled? We don't know. We don't want to find out. So, to calm our fears, earlier this year, in a flyer to residents, Philllips stated, quote, that it is committed to the safety of everyone in the communities where we operate. Our crude rail car fleet is one of the newest and are all DOT 111 cars, unquote. Sounds lovely, like dogwood blossoms floating down a mountain stream. Phillips recently purchased thousands of the DOT 111 cars. The revised environmental impact report fails to mention that it's the DOT 111 tank cars that have been involved in most of the previous derailments, explosions, fires, and oil spills. U.S. Senator Charles Schumer warned, DOT 111 tank cars are tragically flawed, causing potential damage and catastrophic loss of hazardous materials during derailments. The serious deficiencies of the DOT-111 rail cars are well known and are therefore taken into the account in the REIR. It proposes a mitigation to the transportation of hazardous crude by rail. The REIR states that only rail cars described in Table 4.7.6 shall be allowed to unload crude oil at the proposed rail spur. In people speak, this mitigation refers to the proposed DOT-117 tank cars, which do not yet exist. So, according to the REIR, Phillips won't use any of its thousands of just purchased DOT-111 rail cars at the proposed rail terminal. Really? But who is tasked with enforcing this mitigation? The County of San Luis Obispo. It's in the REIR. The county's responsible. And as the environmental impact report admits, the county is preempted by federal law from enforcing this mitigation. So, the entity tasked with enforcing the type of rail cars used has no authority to enforce the mitigation. Brilliant. The REIR discusses a no-project alternative wherein the Santa Maria refinery would continue to receive crude oil from the existing pipeline network from the Santa Maria pump station located in Santa Maria, Santa Barbara County. This additional oil would most probably arrive from Bakersfield, as is already occurring. Additional deliveries are already approved by Santa Barbara County. The REIR states, quote, the no-project alternative would be environmentally superior since it would eliminate a Class 1 air impact and reduce the severity of 5 other Class 1 impacts. It further states that the no-project alternative would meet most of the basic objectives of the rail spur project. That's what the environmental impact statement says. The no-project alternative would meet most of the basic objectives of the rail spur project. Therefore, we urge you to pressure the county to adopt the no-project alternative. Thank you.